Okay, this is an addendum to topic B because we didn't get to the fourth alternative. Uh, Three we'll save for topic D because that's a particular set of procedures. But the one thing that you can do, which no one did but they could have done, is to use the Excel templates that I gave you. Actually, some people did do this. There's some good examples of this. But the Excel files are like this one, which has a picture of the market for dollars diagram. And if you need that, you could use it. More likely, you would use the TNT model diagrams, which we actually have some nice graphics now that came from, I think, from Jeffrey Frankel. His name is misspelled there, but you can go to the source. They were done by Greg Dorchak, but I think he's a research assistant there. Or he could be the one who taught the course. I don't know. But the graphics are nice, and they make the point. And here is an example of the Dutch disease, where you have the traditional exports in Nigeria, for example, which were labor intensive. There's nothing wrong with discovering oil. It should be a big help, but in practice it doesn't work out that way. And here you have the traditional exports, which are peanuts, and then you discover oil, and that causes a real exchange rate appreciation naturally. I mean, it should. And that hurts the peanut farmers and winds up creating adjustment problems, which, I mean, it's an adjustment problem we call the Dutch disease. And here is some more. Anyway, one of the things that is important here, if you're using these diagrams, is what this has is a white background. I've gotten rid of the cells, and it looks like we're copying the diagram, but we're actually not. We're copying everything um, in this line, and actually, it's not easy to paste this. In fact, you have to sort of do it in Word, so we can go to one of the other files that we were working on if we want to, and paste this in the graphic format. There it is, the whole area. You're really pasting an area. You can see that you're pasting an area because here's a little bit of the spreadsheet that I didn't make, where I didn't make the background white. Now remember, what happened is we probably, it did work, but do cut it and do paste special and enhance metafile. And there it is. And you could change this in the spreadsheet. You can change this any way you want. Actually, I recommend using these A and B that have their own point, which has been inserted as a symbol. Actually, this is a symbol. The dot comes from the symbols. And these equations are just formatted in Excel. You can the subscripts and superscripts. So everything is here. You can just manipulate it any one. All the pieces are here. It's like an erector set. So you can do it. Sometimes you can find an answer here, and in many cases, here's actually, this is for the discussion of equations, which was sort of next. You can not only copy the graphics from Franklin Razin, but you can also copy the equations. Now the critical thing is to create a text box which you can copy and move around, which has the reference in which you can change the page. If this is 158, you can change it to 158. And there you can see that we're taking you have to be careful because every once in a while the books actually have a mistake or a typo, and this one, table 5.1, has an error, and if you click there in the original PDF, which is online, you can see the error. And here's a good section because it defines the key parameters, which then show up later in this table. So you have to add text. You can't just copy the text, but you can use the equations of the model and I don't care if you reproduce them, if it's not anything different, if you don't have to make a change, if you don't have to derive something. The key is to have the reference. Here's the reference. Here's the reference. So these are different diagrams you can use. There's also the Metzler diagrams are here. Here's the absorption example from the midterm. This shows what happens when etas absorbed or not absorbed, depending on what happens. And so this one is convenient because it also has the answer. Typically, you don't get the answer till after the exam, but in principle, you could have taken these diagrams. Here's a whole bunch of examples. You could have taken these diagrams and created these examples yourself, even if you didn't have the final answer. Okay, so that's how to use the prepared diagrams in the spreadsheet, or in some cases, well, this is actually just an example. You can also use the graphics from the book and equations. In this case, you would go, I assume you would go to the book directly, which is, I don't know where it is, but it's here someplace. Okay, so that's that.